Welcome back. My name is Nick and I have Taylor here with me, and we're going over our Succession comments from our previous videos and the episode reviews we dropped. So we're super excited to go through these. A lot of comments. And just so you know, every comment is entered to win a shirt from thebestnerdyshirts.com. We randomly pick one. We have a Cousin Greg shirt. We're finally wearing the Cousin Greg shirt. It's freaking awesome. We have the Shires, Burning Some Mordor It Is, to Audi, you name it. All the different shows we're covering, we're making shirts. So check out thebestnerdyshirts.com. But now we're going to jump into some comments.
All right, Nick, I'm going to start with an A-bomb. And that is this theory that Michael V shares and that I've heard on Twitter, in our comment section, on Reddit. It's that, quote, I think Kerry killed Logan. She was pissed after she got taken off TV and suspected that it was Logan. What are your thoughts?
Dang, watch out, Tom. So you're talking, it's not an A-bomb, it's a Kerry bomb. I mean, definitely could have been a thing. Like, I can definitely see that happening. I mean, but like, she could, we don't know who she is. She could be a little crazy. She could be like crazy enough where, I really wanted to be a news broadcaster. So, I'm going to kill you on a plane. Man, I hope she doesn't find out it's Tom.
Her reaction, though, I feel like it was a little crazed. I think we mentioned that before in the last episode, that it was almost a little bit beyond in shock, because she sustained that shock. When she went to Logan's house, she was still kind of in that little I don't know how to describe it.
She was just shaken for sure.
Yeah, and like you might expect that right after this horrific incident happens, but the day after, like I feel like you'd be kind of a little bit mellowed out a tiny bit, but no, she was still kind of in that mindset. So who knows? Maybe she's just like, what did I do?
What if technically too she was looking for evidence at the house and that's why she wanted to go and get her stuff? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. But why else would she want whatever random trinkets she left there? You know what I mean? Maybe she was going back to dispose of some evidence.
Yeah. And well,
crazy theory. Crazy theory end right here.
Well, we welcome crazy theories. You never know. I mean, I feel like that would be a little soap opera-y, but I mean, it's a drama, so who knows?
Yeah.
So Jeepster Mario says, I don't believe Kerry is preggo because she would be more confident knowing she would have an ace in the hand. I think that's probably a good point.
That's a really good point.
She would have probably used that as kind of like a, again, ace in the hand.
Yeah.
Like she would have used that to kind of be like, boom.
And maybe she would have a little bit more confidence too.
Right. You're right. Yeah. That was a pretty brutal line when Marcia's like, and she'll go back to her little apartment. That was kind of a power move there. So will Marcia live to regret that? Only time will tell.
I don't know, but you know what's funny? It's something we didn't mention in our review. It was funny how much Greg was backing Marcia when he was like, "Oh, you're just gonna be clumsy like that. Oh yeah, get out of here. What are you doing?" Like he was like, "Yeah, like Marcia's back," which I thought was so funny.
He's such a jerk sometimes. Jeez, Cousin Greg.
BestNerdyShirts.com. Get your Cousin Greg shirt.
He better not do anything too horrible because I want to wear this shirt out. I read a fact today that we all have at least 17,000 fifth, or the average person has 17,000 fifth cousins. So wow. I can just say that it's one of them. All right, another Jeepster Mario comment. When Greg's grandfather disinherited him, he said Greg was not taking himself seriously. Then Logan says that as well. Interesting.
It was also interesting too because his name was on the list. I wonder if that was after a conversation with his brother.
Ooh, that's a good point. I'm really waiting for Ewan to come into the picture. Like I said in the last episode, like I don't think he would show up the day after because he's in Canada. But I feel like he's gonna come in soon. We're gonna hear from him. All right. So from Irene H. They say, I think that Logan was likely an awful patient and too stubborn to comply with all his tests and meds. I wonder if flying was even recommended. He paid the price. This show is very realistic in many ways. Logan was 84. He is not well. Now he's dead. It's not complicated. Yeah, I actually kind of I agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we have these kind of grand theories of maybe Kerry did it, maybe blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I mean, no offense to Brian Cox, but, you know,
I
it
mean,
doesn't look
his
like
health was shaky since the first season.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then, like, there was that whole when they were on a walk together, too, and he couldn't even finish the walk when they were on the island. Remember?
You're right. Oh my goodness,
And it made him
yeah.
look weak and everything, too. And you think he would learn from the first time being in the hospital and how severe it was with his recovery, that maybe you would want to take care of yourself. But, you know, he's a bull.
Yeah, he thought he was invincible for sure. All right, so now we have some responses to the age-old question of 2 days. Was it crossed out or underlined? Was Kendall's name crossed out or underlined? So if it appears that the commenters are thinking that it's crossed out. I gotta say, I don't have a lot of people in my corner. So, for example, Lexi Sisk says, "Here's my thing. I think Kendall's name was crossed out, but he had decided that Kendall was out. Why would he put it in the safe and not shred it to destroy it? That's what I'm saying."
That's a very valid point.
I didn't even think of that. I was just
Very
stuck on
valid
like
point.
if he didn't want him, he would X him out. But yeah, it's a piece of paper. They could have flushed it down the toilet. He could have flushed it down the toilet.
Type up a new one. Type up a new one and print it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
You could have you could have redid the, you know what I mean, or threw it in the fire if he really wasn't, you know, on the list. You could have just got rid of it. It's so interesting. And then he wrote Greg's name too.
Yeah, we're not dealing with typewriters here. It's pretty easy to change 2 words.
Yeah, we're dealing with Logan here.
But, you know, maybe he didn't have anyone else to write under it. Because my thing was, like, if he crossed it out, I feel like he would write someone's name under it. But then, yeah, maybe he didn't even have a name to put under it. Okay, so let's see. I want to see one that agrees with me. So this is always a struggle saying people's usernames. Valle Jago? Cool Avi with the glasses, if that's you. The thing is, why underline a name that already was put there to indicate who's the successor? Okay. For emphasis, maybe. Yeah. I mean, the fact that Kendall's name was written there is enough to state with no doubt that he was the next CEO. It was a wish list. No line was needed to clarify. So in conclusion, this is like an essay. Logan's intention with that line was actually crossing Kendall out, not underlining his name. Here's the thing. So we know that he's revisiting the document because he's writing notes. Yeah. So he comes back later and he's like, you know what? I'm going to emphasize my point. I'm going to underline it. So I don't know. Yeah. Why would he?
You would think he would take a Sharpie at it or something if he was crossing it out. You know, like they do for like those government documents, how they fully block out. Like that's what I would think he would do. So
I feel like you're on my side, Nick.
I am team underline.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I am team underline for sure. I'm sorry for all the crossed out people, but I think the crossed out there is just something that was mentioned to get in Kendall's own head. I think it was just part of like him getting in his own head that he was crossed out.
So you think even after death, Logan is messing with him?
Well, I think Logan respected him the most because he actually tried to take him down.
Yeah.
No one else tried to take him down. Yeah.
All right. So some more comments we've got here. I mean, we have from Film Union, Kerry killed Logan. It's a fact. So it's stated as a fact. And Film Union is telling us that fact. We also have Sandy and Stewie, which we should talk about Sandy and Stewie. So Joanne says Sandy and Stewie wanted more money from Matsson. Good luck with that now. And then in another comment said, what happens when Ewan learns that his brother is dead? See, I think it's going to be a dramatic, big plot point when Ewan finds that out, and it's going to surprise us. But we already talked about that. But yeah, Sandy and Stewie, I think they're big players. I mean, they've been in every episode so far. Mm-hmm. And last season we didn't even really see them that much at all. So
yeah, and they just their bottom line is the bottom dollar. Their bottom line is the bottom dollar. I don't know if that makes sense, but their number one thing is money, and they're gonna try to milk whatever they can out of this deal. But like we mentioned before in our review, I think by asking and pushing too far, now they don't have Logan, which was their leverage point. I don't know if it's going to be realistic, the number they want to get.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too, they might say, well, Logan's not in the way anymore, so we can do what's actually profitable, not what this old man wants. But really, I saw kind of Logan as wanting to be in charge of like the news segment of it. Like, I feel like Waystar is so big, but we're kind of focused on him,
the news,
his like pet project. I'm sorry. I think the Dodgers are like having a rally right now because like 3 people are texting me. Okay, so we'll see what happens to Sandy and Stewie and their bags of money. But the older Sandy outlived Logan, so I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So speaking of characters that are not main characters, but we're still interested in, Nora says, side note, is Connor's mom still alive?
Well,
valid.
We found that out in this episode. It was something like, remember they're like, should we bring Connor's mom out from the place or something? There was like a mention of Connor's mom in this last episode. I can't remember it exactly, but it was like a diss to Connor. It was like, do we bring his mom out to confirm something? Or it was like a weird joke. Because remember the episode before, it was like they don't do cake because of like I forgot where his mom's at, but it's like
loony
a mental
cake or something.
Yeah, it was like a loony cake, or she's in the loony bin or something like that. And I think there was another reference to that in this last episode. So I'm curious if that's leading up to something actually happening with Connor's mom.
Yeah, and I mean, so I think this comment obviously came before that line that I somehow missed. But this person's also very prophetic because they also commented, I wonder if Logan learned anything from his season 1 illness about what to leave in place and how to better prepare. Whoa.
That's why he underlined. That's why he underlined. He learned something and he wrote down Greg's name.
Yeah.
Which definitely happened after he got out of the hospital. Because he met Greg after he got out, right? Basically. I mean, I doubt if he would have ridden it on the helicopter, right? Like, didn't he meet him at his house and went right in a helicopter? I doubt if he like ran up to his room and was like, "Greg?" ?
I'm realizing now that I'm pretty sure our last interaction between Greg and Logan will be that kind of like roast that they had going, which was hilarious. And that's
with the cameras
also their last moment
in the room, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Well, no, there's that, but then. I think right before, that happened too. I was thinking of the roast where he says like, is your dad still bleeping bleep at the carnival?
Yeah, that's right. That's so good.
So, and then another, I guess you could call it like prophetic comment is history eraser button. Ooh, interesting.
Yes.
Says, anyone think Shiv may need Tom now that her father passed and the divorce could be put on hold? But I think this comment is before we find out that Shiv is pregnant. So adding that onto it, what are our thoughts on what Shiv and Tom? I feel like we need to learn from Logan's death. They kind of hinted at this, his talking about the afterlife and stuff. I feel like they're talking about, or they're showing us Tom and Shiv kind of
reconnecting,
nothing on any written television, books, nothing is ever shown to you without a purpose. Yeah. So it's like, what's going to come of that? I wonder.
Yeah, because they're having their intimate interactions. Still, even before this went on, like when she went back to the house and they're both laying on the bed, they still have their little moments too. So. Yeah.
I don't think we need to keep reading these underline or crossed out, but we have more people. And I just pulled up a comment from Help Conflict who thinks it's underlined. So I just want to say that they said that. And there's even more people on our side. So I think it's tied at this point. 3 against 3. If you haven't shared what you believe,
comment down below.
Yeah.
We should have did a poll on our channel. Didn't even think about that.
Man. There's still time.
Maybe I'll put that up tonight.
Oh, and I see another Candace Cooper underlined. Okay, we're in the majority now. So crossed out people, go away.
I mean, it's definitely, it's a 50-50, I guess, depending on what the show wants to do.
Yeah.
what they where they
Okay.
want to go with it.
Father Daniel has brought up Marcia, which I think is important because
Mm-hmm.
we had no Marcia and now we have so much Marcia. So, Father Daniel says Marcia got the 2 seats 1 or 2 seasons ago when the kids signed off on the paper. Oh, yeah, that paper. I forgot about
that
that.
agreement.
But she's back and definitely going to get a big piece of the pie. Kerry is freaking out because with Logan gone, she's dead in the water. When she freaked out, I died laughing when Greg says, "Here comes the waterworks."
That's okay. That's what I was thinking about. Yes, that was. He was like,
LOL.
"Oh, now here comes the waterworks, Greg." This like tall buffoon giant.
Yeah. I guess she's not going to get to rip him apart like human string cheese.
Marcia.
And then Father Daniel goes on to say, also, if the kids hadn't pushed Logan to ask Matsson for more money, the sale could have been done and over with. And Logan called, Matsson has the upper hand. Oh, okay. So Logan showed his hand a little bit to Matsson. So now that he knows that they're not like a strong front, and they're probably going to get even less money, things are going to get real complicated and messy. Yeah, I mean, I would probably guess they get less money, but at the same time, I think there is something to be said for we don't have this old dinosaur in the way anymore, so we can do what we want with this thing. So
the only thing is they just gotta convince the stockholders and the people buying the company.
Yeah.
And I remember too, wasn't that like a thing? I remember, was it last season? Matsson and Logan met, right? And with Roman, and then he told Roman to leave because he was like, "Well, your kids can stay on, but they're gonna be evaluated." Like he's gonna rate them like on how valuable they are. So he already has a rating scale, and maybe all the heads ups, he's like, maybe once he goes through the rating process, he's gonna be like, all these guys are worthless. And maybe that's why they're all just trying to get whatever money they can because they know they're not going to be successful in this new generation of content and of news. And, they're all old. They're like, let's buy the president so we can control the narrative. It's kind of like now you got to own the big social media companies to control the narrative. So it's like, it's a different way to play the game.
Definitely, yeah. I don't think this really No, Matsson isn't. He's not Scandinavian, right? He just like lives over there.
I think they were at Lake Como when they visited his house. I think it was in Lake Como. Remember how they were on the boat and all that stuff? And I know Lake Como is a very fancy area. And that's my knowledge of Lake Como.
I'm sure we'll get educated on Lake Como. So, but I think that the next episode will be going to him, right? Because there was that conversation in the last episode where they said, like, really, we have to do this? Like, he just died, but it was kind of like, yeah, we have to do this.
Yeah. He probably wants to do it, too, because that's them being emotional might be more to his advantage anyways. Because when emotion takes over, it's not calculated with numbers. It's all emotional. So the choices they make and the things they say could really mess up the deal. You know what I mean? Because if they get emotional and they retaliate a certain way, that can really mess up the deal. So
I was going to say, like, with Logan, I'm sure that there's a little bit of emotion because I think his character is supposed to be like the original founder. So kind of like a Jack from Twitter sort of person. Yeah. I mean, he was obviously fine with selling it out. But it's kind of like there has to be a little bit of emotion into it, I feel. And
I think Kendall's going to go at it really hot. So the episode was episode 2 when he talks to Matsson on the phone when they're out at the bar with Connor and all the brothers and siblings are there. Remember he like talks to him on the FaceTime and he's like, go through the deal, don't mess this up, blah blah blah. And he was like, okay, yeah man. He kind of, but then he was like, no, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do my own thing. So I think that's gonna be like a clash in the next couple. Now Kendall's like, I'm a man now. I'm going to, fight for more money. And then, it's going to be testosterone-ville.
Great. That always turns out well.
I don't know if it does, but but maybe Roman can balance it out. Because he kind of is weird. Like, he has a weird friendship with Matsson. So we'll see how that plays out. It might be a good balance having them both as the head. of the company going into it. It's not just
Yeah.
like one of them. So
Yeah, and that was kind of like the last 5 minutes of the last episode, but definitely one to keep in mind is that the narrative is allegedly going to be that.
Even though Kendall's kind of making moves already.
No, that's what I mean. Like, we saw Kendall, like, we saw the two say they were going to do it jointly, and then we saw Kendall say, go for the dirty play.
Yep.
So that'll
Killer.
maybe play into what happens with the deal. So I
Gotta
guess
be a
there's
killer.
only one way to find out. We gotta wait. Yeah, he's a killer for sure. And something else to note is that with Logan's death, I think died somebody other than Kendall's siblings knowing about him killing the waiter, because I thought that him killing the waiter was going to come into play. It still could, because maybe he told Marcia. Maybe Marcia will use that as retaliation or a threat. So
true. Thank you guys so much for all your comments. We love just doing these videos to kind of recap the episode too, because once we watch the episode and we review it, it's like still fresh in our head. We're like trying to remember certain things in the episode. And it's fun to read the comments and really think back on different episodes and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much. All your comments have been entered to win a shirt from thebestnerdyshirts.com. Go check it out. You see all of our other designs and stuff like that. And we'll see you on the next AsArt. Cousin Greg out. There goes the waterworks. There goes the waterworks.